This is a Palo Alto firewall I have running as a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure. This is an AI agent that I built that I have running in Microsoft AI Foundry. If we come over to the Palo Alto firewall and look at our firewall objects, we can see we only have one object listed. If I come back over to my AI agent, the first thing I'm going to do is get the system information. Now what the AI agent is doing right here is it's looking at its tools, making sure that it has a correct tool to accomplish the task that I gave it, and we can see that it did, and it gave me all of the information or the base information for that Palo Alto firewall. But let's go ahead and create something. So I'm going to say, can you create an address object with a name and a value of, again, the AI agent looks at its tools, makes sure that it has the appropriate tool to accomplish the task that I have given it. It has indeed found that tool, so it's proceeding with creating the address object, and now it's asking me if I would like to commit that change. Come back over to the Palo Alto firewall, and I'm going to refresh my objects right here, and we can see there is the object that the AI agent went ahead and created for us. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. For those of you who are following along in my beginner Copilot course, this video is not going to be for you. I will cover who the video is for, but if you're following along in my Copilot series, first off, thank you for following along, but I will be releasing more videos in that. This, however, is for a different series. For those of you who haven't met me yet or watched any of my videos, my name is Sheldon Swanson. I'm currently working as the Director of AI for SARS Technology. I've been in technology pretty much all my life. Right out of high school, I joined the U.S. Navy and spent 10 years in the Navy, first working on missile guidance systems, then going on to be an instructor for security reaction forces and vessel boarding teams. I then went into network administration, did a little bit of time at the help desk before that, just like a few months, and then went into network administration, network engineering, and then my path has led on kind of so forth. So I've worked all across the area of technology, especially within networking. I've worked on LANs to include a lot of wireless work, load balancers, data center, firewalls. I've even worked on voice a little bit, SD-WAN, WAN design, you name it. And for the past 10 years, I've really been focused on network automation. Pretty much ever since I started really getting into networking, I did network automation hand in hand. Back to listen to David Bomble's videos when he was even covering the Telnet library in Python and how to configure devices, moving on to Paramiko and then NetMiko. So I've been following along pretty much ever since it started to become kind of a thing. But now we're in the new era, an era of AI. The future of networking is definitely AI driven. There is no doubt about that. I mean, it's all over, everyone's talking about it, and very few people are actually seeing it or implementing it. And if it has been implemented, it just doesn't give like a broad audience the ability to say, okay, you know, how does this work? Ask questions, show how the lab is working. And that's what I want to do in this series. So this series is going to be for the AI network engineer. It is not going to be for professionals alone. This is also for students, anyone trying to up their career or get into IT. I can tell you right now from my experience, yes, there's probably going to be a lot of network engineers that lose their jobs, but they are not losing their jobs to AI. In my experience in trying to implement automation over the last 10 years, they're going to lose their jobs because they've just failed to continue to learn, failed to continue to build their skills, and they're not keeping up with the world of technology. I've got so many stories that I could share with that. I mean, I once turned an entire data center into infrastructure as code using Ansible playbooks and Jinja templates. Finished the entire thing, and it was deleted in front of me. It was working, nothing wrong with it. I once had firewall upgrades 100% automated. to the point where all you had to do was go into a graphical user interface, set the date and time that you wanted it to happen, and it would go ahead and run that upgrade for you. I ran that for roughly 2 years and then went through a merger, and once the other network engineering team found out what I was doing, unfortunately I wasn't really in the position to have the right ear at the time, but they made me quit doing it. Was it because it didn't work? Nope, it had been working for 10 years. Is it because it caused an outage? Nope. Not a single outage. In fact, all of the testing that I did, I failed to lose a single ping with upgrading these firewalls. The real reason is because they didn't understand it, and their ego is so small that they didn't have the courage to say, hey, how does this work? And ask the appropriate questions. I've had that all throughout my career. It's just been people who fail to ask questions but tell you how to do things their way because that's the only way that they know how to do it. They don't have the tools in their tool belt to truly architect or engineer a network based on requirements. They only have the way that they were taught, and that's it. Any other environment they go into, they follow that way. So I wouldn't really be putting it in a way that network engineers are going to lose their job to AI. True network engineers who love this field and love technology, you're going to be absolutely fine. If anything, you'll probably like the era of AI networking more than the old era of manually configuring things through a CLI or a GUI, because it allows you more time to do the fun stuff, create labs, finish your documentation. Although that may not be fun, we now have AI to take care of that for us. But as many people are screaming that, oh, AI is going to take our jobs, AI is going to take our jobs, I've still been a firm voice in that it is not going to take your job. What it is going to allow you to do is it's going to free up more of your time, so you're no longer working on your heels and you're working on being more proactive. Simple question right now, and a nice little test that I like to do. For those of you who are watching this video who are still skeptical about what I'm saying, let me ask you this. How many environments have you worked on that the entire thing was fully documented? Everything was documented, laid out, so that if you disappeared off at the face of the planet tomorrow, someone would be able to come right in and with very little friction, pick up where you left off and understand the architecture of the network. I myself can say I've only worked at one that actually had all of their documentation in place, and they were being as proactive as they could be. Most of the environments that I've worked into, though, they're working on their heels. They're fighting tickets, outages, end user complaints. Gosh, wireless is the biggest one because, well, I can't see it, so it has to be the problem. Not necessarily the case. You could be getting blocked by your neighbor. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong with wireless. 50% of wireless is on the device itself, and people don't realize that. Your device is 50% of the situation when it comes to wireless networking. But we're not here to talk about wireless. We're here to talk about AI networking. So I wanted to really give you a heads up on what you can expect in this series. I'm going to start off at the beginning and covering the basic tools. To be perfectly clear, I am not going to be teaching Python and Python or networking in depth. There's already tons of resources out there to either up your networking skills or to learn Python. For those of you that are truly freak out with coding and your ability to learn a programming language, look, I was once in that boat. I thought there's no way that I'm going to ever be able to learn programming. It's over my head. Basically, I took a Java class in college and I didn't understand it. I was very, very, very new to technology at that time. I don't even think I had my A+. And at the time, it was completely over my head. I had no idea what I was doing or what the purpose of everything was. But then as I went along, Python is a little bit easier on the eyes. It's more human readable. So I think the learning curve is quite a bit less when you talk about Python compared to something like Java. But really, there's just a few components and elements. I'll be talking about those and what makes up those components and elements. But really, the only way you're going to learn a programming language is to use it. Once you start using it, that's what builds up your skills. The tools that we have available right now to do the programming for us is just, it's insane. I mean, I didn't have any of these tools when I was learning networking or programming. We have machine learning for predictability and how you're writing your code, and we have AI writing code for us. You can vibe code most of this anyways. So that's why I'm not going to be teaching Python, but I will be teaching the vast amount of tools that you have to know in the era of being an AI network engineer. I'll be building exactly what you just saw, an AI agent that can interact with a network device. You saw the Palo Alto agent, but I have one for Cisco. I have one for Fortinet. I've got one for Juniper. I'm working on one for checkpoint firewalls right now as well. So really, the manufacturer doesn't matter, but I'm going to show you how to actually provide these tools to an AI agent so that the AI agent can go and do the work for you. But I'm not just going to teach you that. I'm also going to teach you how to do it in a manner that is securely resilient and operationally ready. I think most people right now, when they hear me talking about letting an AI agent loose on their network, no way, what could it possibly do? One, that's the excuse I used to get a lot of time when I wanted to implement automations or Python scripts to implement my changes for me. Look, this stuff is not magic. There is a technology behind it, there's a science behind it, and it can be explained. So just like I used to tell whoever it was that was skeptical about my Python scripts, I would say, look, the script isn't going to magically do something that I don't code it to do. It just doesn't happen, right? So the AI agent is only going to be allowed to execute the tools that you write it, and only execute if you allow it. There are ways to lock these things down. We can add a human in the loop if you don't want the agent to make exact changes. But let me give you a scenario on where I want you and I to be at the end of this series. Imagine the last time you got woken up in the middle of the night for an outage. That may have been yesterday, it may have been years ago, it depends on where you are in your career. But imagine instead of getting that voice saying, hey, can you get up? We're having this and this problem, we need you to go ahead and take a look. If you got a phone call from an AI agent, it told you what happened, why it happened, and the actions that it took to correct the error, and the network was self-healing. Sounds pretty awesome to me. I mean, I love it just even thinking about it. Again, there's so many variables in there. Try not to jump to, there's no way so-and-so is going to let that happen, in our environment. Give me a chance here, all right? We're going to walk through the tools. We're going to set these things up, and I'm going to prove to you how they are secure and operationally ready, in that you're not going to have an outage because an AI agent caused it. That much I can promise you. The environment we're mostly going to be working out of, just to give you a heads up, is going to be Microsoft Azure. That is not because it is the best cloud in there. It's just what's the most common, at least amongst the US. I know AWS is more popular worldwide, but anyone who knows cloud can tell you, if you know one cloud, a lot of the theory and just the overall application kind of applies across cloud environments. And I will be talking about those to include the next video, where I'm going to teach you how to make sure that you don't have runaway costs in Azure, and we'll go ahead and start setting up our very first initial environments. So I'm super excited for this series. I've been wanting to do a series like this for the longest time, and I guess I was just waiting for the right opportunity. So era of AI is it. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you will follow along. Please make sure to like and subscribe, share the video. If you are going to be following along, let your fellow network engineers and colleagues follow along with us, and we're going to learn how to become AI network engineers and really take the era of business into the next generation. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you in the next video.